This is my forever world, a world built through hours of planning, building, and rebuilding. Every block placed with intention, every structure holding a memory.
Oh, that block palette is really good.
Because this series is more than just building in Minecraft. It's about creating a legacy, a world that grows beyond myself, a world that feels alive, a place where every corner, every path, every tiny crevice holds a story waiting to be discovered. Welcome to Block by Block. Hello everyone, my name is Dai and welcome back to my Forever World series. I do weekly videos of me building in my Japanese city. And in today's video, we're going to be extending that mountain right there at the back. This is the biggest project that I have in my world currently. And as you can see, the back of the mountain right here is not completely done yet. We need to extend it all the way to the backside right here. So that way we have a nice terrain to work with. And maybe at the top we'll build some lake and then a pagoda up there. That would be a highlight to this whole area. And I've never done a pagoda before, so this is gonna be super exciting. So first let's get some material and clear the area behind me right here. So the first thing that I have to do right now is to head into my mines. This place right here is super old. This is the first mine ever in this world. And we don't have much resources here anymore. So you might need to retire this mine at some point. But we're just here to collect a few stones, a few deep slate, a few andesite, and that's about it. The next thing we have to do is to head into our wood farm. This is the factory. And right under it, we have this tree farm that deserves some love. Look at this place, it's a bit rough. But we have this TNT duper at the top. And it just dispenses a couple of TNT every now and then. And we just harvest them. And I just AFK and I harvest a lot of trees by doing this. So after I gathered some wood, now it's time to strip them off. So the next stop we're making is to head into our copper oxidation chamber. So after I age them, I just come here and press this button and we harvest some copper. And the final step before we start building is to head behind the mountain right here and clear out some of these trees. This is a great way for me to harvest some leaves and some extra logs for future projects. Alright, we pretty much cleared out the area that we need to work with today, and we are covering a lot of spot today. So we're gonna be continuing the mountain right here and then also connecting this side of the track all the way to that side right there. But before we do that, let's repair our tools a bit. I didn't realize how much it would take to break out all of the leaves here, because I do use a lot of leaves to make these custom trees right here. And we have one more right there at the forest entrance, and now we can fix it at our bathhouse. After that long clearing session, I needed to head into my bathhouse. I made this bathhouse a few episodes ago. Me and my friends made this bathhouse so they can have a place to relax, but also on the second floor, we have different rooms for them to put their stuff in. This way, when they do come to my world, they can just dump all their stuff into their room here. So it's like a hotel. But we also have a kitchen, but behind that, we have the dojo. And this is what we came here for. The dojo is actually an XP farm. So I just come here, grab the sword, click on the note block, and get some XP. This new addition to my forever world has been a lifesaver, honestly. The cactus farm that I had before was much slower. This is so much more efficient. Alright, look at that. It's all healed up now. Okay, we're pretty much done here. Now we just have to put the sword back. Now we can go back to our project again. And one of the most crucial steps that I almost forgot is that we need to torch the place under it. Since the mountain right here is going to be hollow, we want to make sure that nothing spawns under it. That way, if you do have a future project under this mountain, we don't have any mob problems. And I learned that the hard way. This has been bothering me for a while now, like ever since I built this hillside right here, is that the trees are so sparse up here. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is to build the flooring first, and then we can fill in these trees so we can have like a really nice sight line when we're looking from down here, seeing all the trees and the depth that you can see all the way back there. That's going to be super cool. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is to clear out some space. I don't know what's wrong with my flashback here, but it's rendering my old skin for some reason. So we're clearing out some space for our train tracks. Right here, we're going to create a tunnel that goes all the way to the other section, which connects to the copper bridge. We're not going to be connecting it on this episode right here, but I thought building the tunnel first would help me get a better idea of what to do in the future. After that's done, we have to cut a few trees to make space for the new ones. And here comes the fun part, where I fill in the rest of the mountain. Enjoy! So I've been doing YouTube for almost a year now, and what's interesting about that is that I realized that I always forget how to like record a video after I upload a video out. It feels like I'm always like relearning how to make videos and just like talking and how to structure each videos. I don't know if that's because I'm relatively new to all of this, and I do notice that my process has always been changing. I always try to do something new. I always try to learn from my previous video and try to do better in the next upload. And I really like that about myself, that I take this YouTube thing really seriously, that I do want to produce the best type of content out there and provide people with value every time they watch my video. You know, whether it's for them to wind down or like as a companion while they're like playing games as well, or just as a comfort video. You know, whatever that may be, I always try to deliver as much as I can. But let's continue with the trees here. Falling mountain stream. Leaves whisper in quiet wind. Peace between the stones. Okay, now the scenery looks a lot better now. It feels more complete. Maybe we can add some trees there later on, but this is really good. I really like the progress that we did in this episode right here. While flying up, I can take a while, so I can briefly talk about the trees first. The trees are like the usual trees that I make in this area right here. It's the same type of trees. We use a lot of walls and then a lot of leaves, mixed in birch and oak leaves. Nothing too special. It's a pretty small trees in comparison to what I have back there. That's a way bigger tree. And as you can see right here, we finally connected the waterfall to the lake up there. And initially when I built this waterfall, I did not think about what was going to go up here, right? Because I just wanted a waterfall feature here. But I decided that a big pond up here would look really cool. And to top it off, the build that we're going to be doing after this is going to be the highlight of the whole area. Even though some sections right here is not completely done, but you get the idea, or like the scenery that I want to create, specifically with the rocks here. The rocks are kind of nestling in the pond here in the middle. And it's the same type of blocks. It's pretty much just a lot of gray concrete, tough andesite stone, mixed in with some mossy cobblestone, mossy stones. And for the greeneries, we always have a lot of varieties. We have grass, we have bush, fireflies, we have some poppies, and we also have some crimson roots because they do have like a really nice pop of red, which kind of highlights the area a bit better. Maybe I can show you guys a closer look of the area. For this build specifically, I felt that copper ores really transition between the colors really well. It gives that hint of color too that is really needed with these type of detailing. But yeah, as you can see right here, you can kind of see how I wanted this whole area to be more grassy and more wild because it is a forest, right? So I do want it to be more green and kind of give that look that overrun by nature. While the city is more cold and maintained, this one is more warm and more inviting and more free. I really like the contrast that we're starting to create here between the city and this upper section right here. But let's get back on our opera right here. I do want to show one more thing before we start building the rest of the area, is that I had trouble with transitioning this area right here, which is the entrance of the forest, to this side right here because the cliff kind of connects all the way right here. I've not completely done the forest inside here, but as you can see even from this angle right here that we have these Japanese maple trees, and then this side right here we have a more piney vibe, right? And I need to transition it better that these trees are like interlapping with each other, where the transition between the two different trees are more smooth, and that way we can make the forest feel more cohesive and alive. But also the two stones here, you can really tell that I'm trying to create like an archway all the way to the backside to connect to this house right here. So I didn't want it to completely cut it off. I want it to be natural, where you can create a pathway all the way there into the house in the forest. But also we create a lot of possibilities to perhaps add more pathways that goes around the forest, and also add more interesting stuff that could happen in the forest, right? I do want to give myself possibilities to like improve this forest over time after we're done with this project. And now that I've shown off the whole area, now it's time for the highlight of this whole project here. This is where everything ties together. This final build right here will make the whole area make sense. So I'm super excited to build it out. So let's start. I think this is one of my favorite builds. I know I say it all the time, but genuinely I feel like this is one of my favorite builds. So this is the whole area that I've made so far. I know we haven't connected it to the city here, but eventually we're going to do that. We're going to flatten this whole area down and then make a road coming all the way up here. And I think the entrance being somewhere over here would make sense. That way you get a prime view of this whole pagoda here and the bridge and also the forest here at the back. Once we add more trees, I think that's gonna look super cool. But yeah, I really wanted to do a pagoda for a while now, but I just haven't had the right space for it. And when I was thinking about making this whole mountain area, the idea of like a pagoda up here came up, and it really made a lot of sense. And what I really like about this build specifically is that it has a lot of tiny details. Since it's not as big as the other builds that I've done in terms of the size, I was able to put a lot of detail and thought process behind this whole build right here. But as we hit nighttime here, I want to show you guys the beautiful building here at night. It really pops colors, because we do have a lot of lanterns surrounding the building itself, but also the color itself. Like, I did not expect the color would be this good. It is incredible. I really love what I've done here. Okay, now it's time to explain the details of the build here. I want to talk about the roof first. Well, I use the same block pallets as I do with my other builds. I use deep slate tiles, deep slate bricks, and some black stones, but I also use a bunch of dark oak to make the curve a bit more pronounced. I think in Minecraft you can't really do a lot of like curves, so I do use a lot of dark oak signs, dark oak trapdoors, and fence gates to help make the shape smoother here. And I think that's like my favorite part about this build is how well the curves are. And it might look a bit jarring at first with the dark brown color on the edges here, but if you look at the building as a whole, I think it fits really well. And continuing with the roof here, we have lots of lanterns down here hanging down from the ceiling. And just to show you guys the details of the roof here, I do have a lot of pressure plates, I have candles, and then I have these dark oak pressure plates as well to make the block feel a bit more smoother, and I really like it. So yeah, that's like probably the highlight of this whole build. And we do have these lightning rods with some candlesticks at the bottom. Now while building this, I was using a reference from Ghost of Tsushima. Like most of the builds I do in this town, I have a lot of Ghost of Tsushima references, if you can tell. In one of their pagodas in the game, they have these tassel at the end of each roof, and I was trying to emulate that, so it's like a kind of like a stick and then like a ribbon under it, and I think it just adds a bit more detail and a bit more personality to your build. So the main build itself, I use a lot of brown blocks. I initially used red, and red just feels a bit out of place in my world because I don't really use a lot of colors for buildings, so I ended up doing brown. So the three main component here is just stripped dark oak logs, mud roots, and mud packs. That's basically it. And then I sprinkle in some little details here for the building, where I use copper bars to make the support going into mud walls and then into fence gate. A lot of these historical buildings, they have a lot of intricate details, and I do want to emulate that using all of the blocks that are available in Minecraft. With that limitation, I feel like I did a really good job emulating these tiny details. And then I use these jungle signs and then these dots here to make it look like nails, just to give the building a bit more detail. I feel like having these nails here kind of show you the materials that are used in the building, and that heightens the realism of the building. And then to match the brown color, I use a copper door, and it just gives it a bit of different tone in the building. For the green windows, I use coppers again. Coppers are so versatile. I feel like it's one of my favorite blocks. And these green windows are actually from the original build where I made it red, and red and green goes pretty well together. And a lot of Chinese and Japanese buildings actually use a lot of red and green together, so I thought green made sense. But when I was swapping out the colors in my test world, I realized that green actually fits with this brown color palette. It just gives it that pop of color that this building gravely needs, right? Because this is a really earthy and warm colored building, so these pop of green colors kind of make the building feel more alive, and you know, it desperately needed a color here. So I'm glad I stuck with that decision there. So the building itself goes from this bigger size to medium to small size, right? So when I was building these arches on the inside, the bottom part was the easiest because, you know, I can have more blocks to make out these arches here, right? But as soon as we head onto the upper floors, I came across with this issue where I can't detail as much as I was able to on the lower floors. So I need to find a way to make it look good and made sense with the scale while not adding too much block. And these signs right here, since you can put it at an angle like this, they're able to connect these corners where it needs to be round instead of like a bulkier. You know, if I put another wall here, it's gonna be super bulky, right? But if I just put a sign here, it makes it a bit more streamlined and it fits really well with the overall area. I just realized I haven't talked about this whole area right here. So the original concept of this whole section up here was for it to be a bit more natural and just use a lot of grass. But while I was making it, I feel like it was missing something. So I ended up adding this platform right here, and I'm not totally sold with the idea of like this platform right here just yet, since it is pretty empty right now and I don't know what to fill this area with right here. So if you guys do have any suggestions here, do let me know. But I did put a tree here. I thought this corner right here, putting like a tree would make sense. So I ended up putting like a bedding here and then surrounding it with the same type of railings that we have here. And then I built a custom bonsai tree here, and you can kind of see the shape a bit better from afar. That's super nice. I'm really proud of this one right here. But yeah, that's all from this area right here. I feel like this isn't a complete project just yet, and I would like to come back to this area and add a lot more stuff to it as we go along. But I think we should add one more thing here. I feel like this area needs a couple more trees here that are different from these pine trees. So I'm gonna add a few more custom trees around the area just to make this park right here feels more alive and unique, you know, because I feel like parks always have like different trees surrounding it, and I feel like that would make the whole area much nicer. So I start doing that. So the first tree that we're gonna do is the one on the side of the pagoda. This is right under the platform. I thought we needed something just to freshen up the area a bit. It's just a mixture of oak leaves and azalea leaves. And I mix in a few firefly bushes just to add a bit of a color and some candles. Pretty simple tree. The second tree that we're gonna do is similar to the one that we did in the circle shaped pottery. So it's a Japanese bonsai kind of tree. So it's really a miniature maple tree, and it's just called bonsai. So this tree has a lot of different branches going all around, and it's really beautiful. But this one right here is kind of hard to make it look good on all angles. So it's a bit of a challenge to make this really good. Put some grass and some candles and some glass to soften up the shape of it. Lastly, I wanted to put a bigger tree right near the lake, and adding more stuff there would really make it come to life. And I will definitely come back to this in the future where I touch upon the water and the surrounding area a bit better, because I feel like those areas deserve a bit more attention. On this one, I'm going to be using orange leaves. So I do use a lot of copper grates, some acacia fences, some orange glass, and some red glass. I've done this before in an island, but this one is a lot bigger. So with bigger trees like this, I tend to go a bit messier with a lot of different colors and a lot more shading. So that way I can accentuate the shadows, but also put some highlights on the trees. I think this is where we're gonna leave it for now. I like the addition of these new trees. I feel like they add a lot to the environment, but I'm kind of stuck right now. Like, I don't know what to do with the rest of the area. So again, I would like you guys to give me recommendations on the trees. What type of trees do you think would look good here? Should I do more colored trees, or should we just keep it pretty simple as it is right now and just build different houses here or something? And yeah, I think that would really help me in the next episode. Now that we're back in the city, there's one more feature that I want to show you guys before we end the episode here. So let's go into one of these buildings that I've done. And this one right here is supposed to be Han Mise. I found a better way to make these type of signs. So let me just show you guys. This is the big sign mod, and a friend of mine from Neudinium, his name is Deborn. I requested for him to make a special one where it's specifically for kanji. And if I use it, and now if I write Han, I can make it much better. Look at that. Now, although the font is much lighter, you get what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make it look more detailed, and now you can kind of tell better what the writing is supposed to be instead of what I had before. Like on this one right here, it kind of resembles kana, but you gotta like really squint your eye to kind of guess what it is. But this one right here, you know, it's much more accurate, and the readability on this one is so much better. We just gotta find a way to make this thicker, and this is gonna be the way to go in the future. So yeah, this is a major improvement to the city, and I thought you guys would like to see this. But now that we're here, we're gonna end the episode with dialogue, which is the comment of the week. Today we only have one comment because this is a really long comment. It's a comment by Jongo Lorian, and he said, "It kept bugging me how everything fits together other than your power plant, which sticks out like a sore thumb. I think changing it to be a bit more fitting would make the city even better." I completely agree with you, and I understand your sentiment. So just to kind of refresh your memories on what he's talking about right here is, I do have an industrial area right here on the left side of the town. This is the stuff that I've been working on, which is on this side of the town. But on the right side right here is the industrial part. And although I am proud of the buildings that I have here, in terms of aesthetically, they look really good. I do enjoy building Brutalis, and this one right here as well. If we go over at the front and show you guys better picture of what we did here, this is a really really nice build as well. And this one right here is what kind of started out this whole section of brutalism and industrial, which is my first building ever on my channel, where I did a shulker farm and covered it up with this giant building right here. And all of these buildings are kind of in the same theme, but not in the same theme as the city. Oh, look at that, the pagoda. That is so nice. Oh, it makes me excited. But yeah, this side right here is kind of just feels outdated. And if you just like take a look at the whole area as a whole, you can really tell where I kind of stopped the newer section, and all of this side right here is just the older section. And with these two new additional building, I just thought I could make it work. But the more I do it, the more I realize that, you know, I don't think it's working, right? Because back then my philosophy in my building is that I want to build cool things and then just make it work in the city. But the more I do this Japanese style, and the more I get into the historical significance, and then the more I go into the lore of my city, this side right here just kind of does not make sense. So yeah, I do want you guys feedback on this. I'm planning to take down the whole side right here and just try to come up with a new building that fits better with this setting. Or do you think I should just keep it as is and try to make it work somehow? But yeah, do let me know. I appreciate your feedback. I try to read every comment and reply to all of them. So if you do have something to say or you just want to chat with me, feel free to do it in the comment section below. But other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.